Ladies and gentlemen, today is the day. Today is the premiere of my brand new podcast. This has been so much work towards, and I can't wait to show you guys the Zooming Through Wrestling podcast. Let's get right into it. Alright, hello, what's going on everyone? My name is Rockerzzoom, and we're talking about the entire week of WWE. Basically, here's the rundown of the way the podcast goes. I didn't go over this in my channel trailer. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It'll be a good overview of what's going on for my content, as well as if you didn't check out all the other videos that I posted this week so far, go ahead and check them out. They're all going to be cards up top there, and you can throughout the video. Anyways, man, guys, I've been putting so much work into this podcast. If you guys can please leave a like down below. It would mean a lot to me. Comment down below what was your favorite part of the podcast, what could I improve on, and that would be great. Suggestions are always accepted. Anyways, the way this podcast is going to work is I am going to go over all of this week in WWE, every little bit of it, and then I'm going to give you at the very end my takeaways, my favorite and least favorite moments of the week, my predictions for the next week, and that's basically going to be it. But before we get into the rest of the podcast with all that happened this week, we're going to talk about some news in the WWE that I might not be able to cover and my reviews of all the shows that happened this week. So let's start off pretty strong here with talking about the Universal Championship design. Now, if you guys don't know, the Universal Championship design was showcased and first shown ever at SummerSlam, and it's literally the world title and the women's title just painted red. Like the strap is red, the background of the belt is red, the little underline of the W's is black. Realistically, looking at it, I don't think it's a bad looking design. It's just a lazy design, and that's why I'm gonna go ahead and say that's like a super lazy design, and it looks okay at the very most, but it just, something better could have been taken from this. Like a better design could have come to fruition at SummerSlam, and it would have been a cooler look to the belt. Would have meant more to the belt, even though it has a stupid name. But now we have a belt that has a stupid name and a stupid look and a lazy look overall, and I hated it. That's all I gotta say about that. Moving on to the SmackDown Tag Titles and the Women's Championship. Again, laziness. Okay, the Women's Championship on SmackDown looks exactly like the Universal Championship, the Women's Championship, and the World Title. On SmackDown, the only unique championship you have is the Intercontinental Championship, because the Women's and the World look exactly like the Universal and the Women's on Raw. And the tag titles look exactly like the tag titles on Raw, but they look way better for some reason. Now, I'm going to say this right now. The color scheme for both of those belts, and like the tag titles and the women's belt, they look way better than the other ones. I personally love the look of the SmackDown tag titles. Those look amazing to me. I love them so much. And then the women's belt, it still looks good. It looks good with that color scheme, in my opinion. It's just, again, lazy design, and that's what I don't like about it. But with that color scheme, with the SmackDown tag belts, I don't even care about the lazy design on that one. Those belts look amazing. Those belts look like championship titles to me. Nothing like the bronze belts on Raw. When the New Day go around, I don't look at the belts. I look at the New Day. Whoever wins the tournament that I'm going to get into later, whoever wins the tournament and holds those championships, I'm going to be looking at those belts, because those belts look awesome to me. I don't care who disagrees with me. They look legitimately awesome. And moving on to the last bit of news I wanted to cover, Finn Balor's injury For those of you who don't know, Finn Balor was injured at SummerSlam, sadly taking a really bad bump when he took a running powerbomb into the barricade. People are speculating on whether or not it was Rollins' fault, and if you look at the actual clip that's provided on YouTube, that's provided literally everywhere, you can look and see the running powerbomb move. Yes, it's dangerous, and I believe it should be banned because of its past, but I don't think it's Rollins' fault. Because if you look at it, Finn didn't know where he was landing, what he was doing. If you want to know a guy that can perfectly land and take the running powerbomb bump on a barricade perfectly, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose has taken that move plenty of times, everywhere. He's taken that move so many times. I don't think I can count on two hands how many times he's taken that move, and he's never been injured from that. But in regards to its injuring superstars past, it majorly affected Singh's career, as well as basically ending Singh's career. That running powerbomb move did into the buckle bomb, people are calling it. But the running powerbomb into the barricade, the way that Finn Balor took it, he was not sure. It looked like he was not sure where he was landing or what he was doing, where he was taking the bump, essentially. So he was landing, he was moving backwards, had his arm up, and he looked like I'm looking right now. He looked behind him to make sure where he was landing, and his arm just caught at the top of the barricade before he took the bump, and his arm was right up here as soon as he took it. So it looked like the momentum just knocked it out of place. And I could really tell when I looked at the way Balor looked, because I didn't notice this watching the matchup. I was too focused on the way that the Universal Championship belt looked, and watching it over again, great matchup. We'll talk about it later. But watching it over and looking at that clip, I didn't notice, but there's a clear cut bone coming out of Balor's shoulder, and I didn't even notice it, but it is really evident that there's a bone coming out of his shoulder, and it was really rough to watch. And he even popped it back into place. He does a little bit of this for a little bit, and he goes on to keep fighting in the match, wins the match with a broken shoulder, basically. And just, wow. If people look at that and still don't like Balor, I don't know why you're still watching the product. Because Balor's the future. Alright? Guys like Balor, Sami Zayn, hit the mic, sorry. Sami Zayn, or Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura. These guys have a strong background of having really dangerous, intense styles of fighting in the ring. And all these cruiserweight division coming in September 19th on Raw. This is the future of wrestling for WWE. No more of the John Cena style wrestling. This is our future in the WWE, and this is what's going to happen. And people just need to realize it, because Finn Balor is huge, and he's going to remain huge, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's all the news I wanted to get covered before I go into all of my in-depth reviews in a little bit. And first, let's move on to the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn review, Brooklyn 2. Smooth transition there, I know. We're basically going not so in depth like I would do for its own video. I'm just going to cover a few matches here and there, just so you guys can get a basic gist of what happened on Saturday night at TakeOver Brooklyn 2. Overall, it was an amazing night for wrestling. Of course, Brooklyn NXT TakeOver, that has gold written all over it, and it was a great show. I'm going to be focusing on three things primarily, two matches two other things, four things overall, two matches and two moments happened on the show, but I just want to get it out of the way. This whole show was amazing, and just wow. That's all I have to describe it with. Yeah. Anyways, first off, we're going to cover the Revival versus Gargano and Ciampa for the NXT Tag Titles. Wow. That matchup was match of the night by far. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, those guys are working so well together, meshing so well. Their match at the CWC was phenomenal. Their match up here with the Revival, even better. These guys are golden when they're put together, and that's why I really did think that they were going to split them up tonight, or at TakeOver. But they didn't. They didn't split them up, and I think they're gonna get the gold. I think they're gonna get tag titles. Revival's gonna go up to the main roster. They're gonna have a bit of a run, and then they're gonna split up, and then that could be potentially an NXT title feud. Could potentially be an NXT title feud. I could see that happening. If not, then they're probably gonna keep them together until they move up to the main roster. Regardless, though, the entire match was amazing. If there's one main reason I want you guys to go back and watch this show, it's this matchup. There's never a boring time in this matchup. There's never a time in the match where I was watching and I was genuinely disinterested. Like not interested at all. I was completely on the edge of my seat the entire time. I loved the entire show, but the entire match in general. This was my favorite match of the night, and it was generally everyone's favorite match of the night because it was amazing and everyone loved it. And there's nothing really much I can say else. I mean, the Revival, of course, they work together really well. They're probably the best tag team in the business right now. They're so good. They mesh so well together, and they end up retaining. I should probably bring that up. They end up retaining the title, making Johnny Gargano tap with I believe it looked like a knee bar. Yeah, it looked like a knee bar on Johnny Gargano, which was a move that wasn't really showcased on NXT shows or NXT television, but also a big part of the matchup. They were really taking some damage on Gargano's knee, and they end it with a knee bar on Gargano and made him tap out. And it was just seriously though, if they didn't have that slither of hope, the Rival, to attack on Gargano's knee, then Ciampa and Gargano would have won it. It's just that simple, man. They would have easily won it. But the Rival came in, and they did exactly what they said. They're going to retain, and they did. Moving on to the two meshed things I want to talk about, like two moments in the show that I absolutely loved. And genuinely, these two moments really, really made the matches they were part of. Okay, so first, Bobby Roode's entrance. Holy hell. There's no other word to describe it than glorious. It was fantastic. It was so well put together, well thought, and he looked like a superstar. His opponent, not so much. The overall matchup, it was okay. It was a good solid match, especially for Bobby Roode's first match in NXT. And I think he's going to go far, man. He is definitely going far. And if he doesn't take the NXT title, then he's definitely going to be pushed really early onto the main roster and go for a title immediately, because he is written with gold. He is written with championships all over him. And I could see him with a title very, very soon. Then the other moment I want to bring up, Hideo Itami making his big return. He returned a few weeks ago, but he made his big, like, I'm here statement. You know me, that stuff. He made that big moment in the opening match, Austin Aries versus No Way Jose. It was a great opening matchup. It was a solid match. Didn't really want to bring it up though. I want to get through all of these shows. I have a lot to talk about. But Hideo Itami coming out, for the first time on NXT television, we see the GTS, the move that he created. The first time we see it on NXT television, it was so great. The crowd was hot. They popped for the GTS, and just the look on Austin Aries' face when he hears Hideo's music, it was priceless, and it was amazing. And Austin Aries, fully fledged heel. He was so over with the crowd though at Brooklyn. No Way Jose looked so good, so solid in the matchup. But just to see Austin Aries attack on No Way Jose, and then Hideo's music hits, he comes out, they have a little bit of a brawl, and then he knocks him down, and then Hideo picks him up and just hits him with that GTS. Oh, he's back, and I cannot wait to see what they do at the October takeover. I'm not sure if it's going to be Respect 2, I doubt it, but I'm not sure what they're going to do for the October takeover name or whatever, but I can easily see this being one of the main events. Austin Aries, Hideo Itami, make it happen, and it's looking like it's gonna happen, man. So pumped for that. And then the last matchup I want to bring up is Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura. Damn, man, this was a great match, a great main event for a phenomenal show, and I absolutely loved this match. It was so well thought out. You know, the beginning, I will say, could have turned a lot of people off. It was slow and methodical, but it was just like Joe wants it. Slow and methodical, you know, his pace, just knocking down Nakamura over and over and over again, and he just keeps on just beating on him, and it looked like Joe was a beast, and it looked like it was going to be a squash, but of course it's Shinsuke Nakamura, so it's not. It really isn't. And Shinsuke got his ground, felt like he got back on his feet every single time, and he just came back with heart, with strength that came out of nowhere. The charisma in Nakamura is great. His charisma in the ring and his ring presence is mainly why I love Nakamura so much. He's just so damn good. So damn good. He's better than half of the people on the main roster. Probably 2/3, 3/4 of the people on the main roster. We might cover Nakamura's case in its own video, because people want him on the main roster. It's too damn early, and I'll tell you later. But Nakamura, man. Now there are reports shown, and there is evidence in the match that Nakamura ends up hitting a Kinshasa, not full strength, but he ends up hitting it, and he dislocated Samoa Joe's jaw. He literally dislocated Joe's jaw, and Joe's just grabbing at his jaw the whole time while it's having. Just you can hear him grumbling and screaming in pain, and then just to see that. And then he hits it again after, you know, Kinshasa, like the Kinshasa is an incredibly hard move. It's a strong finisher. Shinsuke hits it once, dislocates Joe's jaw, and then Joe gets up on his feet. Shinsuke gets up on the second rope, or I think it was the top rope, and takes his knee and plants it on Joe's neck. Joe gets down on his knee. Or his knees, and he gets back up a little bit, and he hits a second Kinshasa to the back of the head, and then that had to be it, and it was it, and Shinsuke takes the strap. He wins the championship from Samoa Joe. Now Samoa Joe did have an okay run with the title. I won't say it was the best run, but it was a good reign. And I do see him coming to the main roster pretty soon. Probably by Survivor Series, definitely by the Rumble, and if it isn't, then wow, they're really giving him the Finn Balor treatment. But man, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, hats off to both of you guys. You guys did amazing in the matchup, and I absolutely loved every second of that match. It was a great wrestling match, and I loved it. I love seeing great wrestling matches in WWE again. It's a great thing to happen. And just overall, man, Nakamura winning that championship, Nakamura's entrance, man, just everything about that bit of the show, just great. Overall, I'm gonna give NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 a 9 out of 10, man. It was so great. It was so fantastic, phenomenal. Every good word you can use in the book goes towards that show. So good. Now let's go right into our SummerSlam review. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about SummerSlam now. SummerSlam happened the day after TakeOver Brooklyn 2, and overall, it was a pretty show. Okay, I didn't really catch the kickoff match, kickoff matches, or the kickoff show in general. I know there was a 12-man tag. The Cesaro and Sheamus first of the best 7 series, and then the Dudleys versus the Neville and Zayn. So that was your kickoff show, and it seems like an okay card for the kickoff. I mean, I would have preferred to see Zayn and Neville on the card, but what are you gonna do? They have so many years to come, and I can't wait for it. Anyways, your legit review, man. But I'm gonna be honest. Right at the gates, SummerSlam had a very odd card placement, or match placement in general. Your WWE World Title match, for example, happened halfway through the show. You don't want to have a main title like that happen halfway through the show with 3+ matches happening after it. You don't want that to happen. AJ Styles, John Cena, I'm going to talk about that matchup. That happened so early on in the card. The Women's Championship match was the second match of the night. It was just all over the place, and the 4th hour really killed it, because the 4th hour was some damn good wrestling, but even I was tired. I fell asleep during the WWE World Championship match, but during Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, which had a pretty solid build in my opinion. I was so excited to watch it. I fell asleep during that match, guys. It's just that really shows what the show is and was. It was a pretty boring show in my opinion. But let's go in depth with the 3 matches I want to talk about of the night. First off, AJ Styles versus John Cena. Man, holy hell, what a way to end the first hour. I believe this was the ending to the first hour, going into the second hour of the show. And wow, man, Styles and Cena had a 4.5-star classic, if not 5-star classic. I absolutely love this match. This matchup had me thinking Cena Punk style or Cena Bryan style match. And just to see Cena and Styles going after this, and for anyone that thinks Cena can't wrestle, these are last year with him and Rollins, pretty good match, good wrestling there from Cena. The year before that, he got absolutely demolished by Brock Lesnar. We don't talk about that. Then the year before that, he went up against Daniel Bryan and had a really good wrestling prowess in the matchup. So whoever says Cena can't wrestle is an absolute liar, and don't believe them, because he really can. And Styles, man, what a performer that guy is. It even, Cena even had the look on his face of genuine shock, because no one in my knowledge has kicked out of the Super AA from the top rope, and he did, man. Styles looked like an absolute star, and they made him a star that night. Styles was cemented as the new superstar on SmackDown Live, and it looked amazing because he went over and he beat John Cena clean as a whistle. And that was just, you see, I said going in, man, the realist in me thinks Cena's gonna win. Cena's gonna go over and Cena's gonna beat Styles, and then Styles out of nowhere finishes the match, pins John Cena clean for a 1-2-3. Great match, fantastic match. There was very little flaws with it that I can remember. I barely even remember any bad things about this. This matchup was so fantastic, and I loved every second of it. After the matchup, Styles ends up going to the back. Cena leaves his armband, never give up armband, in the middle of the ring. Maybe symbolic to him leaving for a little while because he has to go film, American Grit Season 2. He has to go do all this new stuff going on. Maybe we won't see him so much. Maybe this is him transitioning into Hollywood. I don't know. I really don't know. But that'll come into factor later. Anyways, moving on to Orton versus Lesnar, the main event of the show. These two guys right here, man, they put on a pretty okay main event, honestly. I would have preferred the Universal Championship to be the main event, if I'm completely honest. But the ending of the match made the whole thing. Made the whole match. because the whole thing overall was pretty okay, pretty slow. Had a few big spots here and there, like Lesnar completely devouring Orton and just like he just tossed him into the table, and Orton collapsed through the table, and you just have like, what the hell, that was not supposed to happen. And just like that whole moment, and like everything like building up, like Orton had a little bit of offense here and there, but it was primarily Lesnar though, and just Lesnar just going to town on Orton's head, and just a pool of blood coming out Orton's head. It was just insane. It was so surreal, and this is why I seriously do like that that the WWE. This is like one of the good things about WWE being PG, in my opinion, because now moments like that, when blood even shows up barely, like it showed up in Hell in a Cell last year, WrestleMania last year with Lesnar, both of them Lesnar. Basically, whenever blood is shown now, it means something. It means a whole nother level. Because for years now, we haven't seen a whole lot of blood. Now, holy hell, whenever we see just a little bit of blood, we're like, damn, like Cena's nose breaking last year. Like when his nose broke and we saw like a good amount of spraying blood, and we were all like, holy shit. But like, if that would have happened in the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression era when there was blood there, we would have been like, damn, that's a pretty good blood there. But it wouldn't be like as a big of a reaction as we gave it. You know, it was hugely impactful and really made the matchup. Man, that ending really was great, and I can't think of a better way to end the show. Now, in regards to post-match, you know, Orton had 10 staples in his head. Lesnar was given a $500 fine. Oh, man. I really hope that's not true. If it was just $500, that's insane. Because we all know how much bank he's making. He just fought at UFC 200. Come on, people. Anyways, Lesnar goes over Orton via TKO. The first TKO match TKO ending I can personally remember watching live. Yeah, man, that whole matchup was great. Hold on. Whoa. I said great as I looked at Styles versus Cena. Sorry, the whole matchup was okay. That's the truth. And the last match I want to talk about is Rollins versus Balor for the Universal Championship. The championship looked dumb. This was great. Of course, it's Rollins versus Balor. You know, of course, Balor with the whole injury stuff that I went over at the beginning of the show. That all sucked. But regardless, Rollins and Balor, man, they put on a clinic. They put on second best match of the night. It was so good. Rollins looking insane while he's trying to put Balor away, and Balor just won't give up. Balor going crazy when Rollins won't give up. All of these moves and spots that are given in the show, in this match, like they literally put on one of the best matches in recent memory for SummerSlam. I think this Styles and Cena, and like, I'm drawing to a blank of a match that went on last year that's better than those two matches. Like, those two matches in general really made this show better, like a little better than last year. Just a little bit, and it's weird to say that because I have such a negative view on it because it was a really weird show to watch. It really was slow overall. It was all over the place. But Rollins and Balor, man, just overall, I can't really like go too in depth with it because if I do, I'm gonna go on for hours because just how amazing that matchup was, man. Now, again, it wasn't as good as Styles versus Cena because the crowd was a little dead for the first half of the match, I would say. Not so much dead because they weren't making noise, but dead because they were making noise for the wrong thing, with which Rollins of course tweeted about later on. Anyways, man, Rollins and Balor, I really expected Rollins to win it. And if Balor didn't get injured, I really thought that Rollins was going to win it. And he was going to, like, you know, they could really work with Rollins being the heel and Balor chasing for that title going over, you know, a few months at least. But, of course, Balor, you know, wins the match. He's the first ever Universal Champion. I don't know how long the Universal Champion is gonna run for, but just to be known as the first ever championship holder of anything is fantastic, and a great thing for Balor to have under his resume. And it's a great match, and I was really happy to watch. Overall, though, I'm gonna give SummerSlam 4.5 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Like, there's really, like, those are the three biggest things that happened that night. I mean, Sasha Banks losing the title, that was another big one, but it only really happened because she was quote-unquote injured. I don't even know if that's confirmed, but she's also maybe going on her honeymoon because she was striked from the next 30 days of live events. So we really, I personally don't know what's going on with that. I haven't looked into it too much, but just overall, man, it was a show that had way more potential than it gave us, you know. But I digress. And like, those three matches are worth a watch. Other than that, you can watch it if you want, really. And from there, we're gonna move on to the post SummerSlam Raw review. Let's get right into it. And for the right before Raw, I believe it went an hour before they went live, Mick Foley tweeted out saying he and Stephanie McMahon jointly, I believe, what was the word? Jointly accept Finn Balor's relinquish of the title due to injury and stuff. And then Balor came out, and it felt so genuine. What he said to the universe, to us, to just wrestling in general, like, he will be back, he will be stronger than ever, and the Demon King will arise to the top once more. And I really feel like he will. And, you know, this whole relinquishing of the title, it's a sucky situation for everyone involved. You know, Finn Balor, he's going to be out for 6 months, tops, or no, at the least. You know, WWE had so much creativeness going towards Finn Balor being the champion, and now with that strike, they had to, like, completely revamp everything that they had planned, and just everything about, you know, the Universal Championship is essentially, like, the hype is died down a little bit. You know, the first champion holder held it for less than 24 hours, and it sucks to see, man. It really does suck to see. Especially that happening to a new world title, or, you know, the essential, like, the equalness of a world title. I don't know if that's a word. But, man, Finn Balor, it was hard to hold back the tears when he was talking with that depressing and sad promo, but motivational as well, because we know Finn Balor is going to come back. We know he's going to come back stronger than ever. And 6 months from now is roughly February. I see bright things for WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, man. Finn Balor coming back. Should be coming back right before WrestleMania. Holy hell, that would be amazing to see him return right before WrestleMania, go for the title. Just, oh man, the hype is real. The hype is real. The second subject I want to cover is the Universal title Fatal 4-Way match that was announced for next week. This was pretty stupid. This was probably one of the dumbest mistakes of the night. Just overall, they should have had the champion culminate that night in Brooklyn with a hot crowd. And you want to know why? So that way they can have a full build. Because, well, I'll get into it, SmackDown Live has less weeks, significantly less weeks to build their Backlash pay-per-view than Raw has for Clash of Champions. And they're essentially wasting an entire week of a show just to build to get a champion that they have to have then they have to have a champion find a challenger before Clash of Champions. It's a very odd situation, but all night on Raw there were 4 matches leading towards 4 winners going into the Fatal 4-Way next week for the Universal Championship. The 4 winners were Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Big Cass, and Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins ended up facing up against Sami Zayn and won. Kevin Owens faced Neville, Big Cass faced Rusev, and Roman Reigns faced Chris Jericho. Now, one thing I would have changed with that, one little thing I would have changed with that, I mean, I could see they're trying to push Big Cass as like that mystery factor, like the Big Show at WrestleMania 2000, or the Big Show in like basically any multi-man world championship match he's been in. But I really do think what they could have done better is given Braun Strowman something something to do other than just squash jobbers. I really do think that they could have put Braun Strowman, because they've been building him up as this huge beast of a monster of a man these past couple of weeks, facing off against nameless jobbers for week after week after week after week for like repeatedly, and he's just looking I mean, after the first week he looked very solid. I really liked that first week, and then the second week same thing, third week same thing, fourth week wash, rinse, repeat, and that's basically what he's been doing. If he was put in Big Cass's spot, and he went up against Rusev and he destroyed an injured Rusev like within a minute. I wouldn't say a minute because he's the U.S. title or the U.S. champion, but put on a clinic on Rusev, injure him a little more, man. And Braun Strowman go to the Fatal 4-Way next week. I thought that would mean a lot more, but regardless, Big Cass being pushed. They're really pushing for that Cass and Enzo split up soon. Hopefully not. They're so good together. Anyways, that's your main event for next week, and that was mainly what happened the entire show. I think nothing else really happened other than the third subject of the show, Bayley's debut. Yes, Bayley debuted on the Raw show like I suspected her to, because there's nothing else really going on SmackDown Live for her to do, and if she went to Raw, then she has much more of a freedom there. She can face Charlotte, which is looking like what she's going to do at Clash of Champions, because she faced off against Dana Brooke in her debut on Raw. Had a solid victory over her. It's looking like Bayley's going to go up against Charlotte for the Women's Championship at Clash of Champions, since Sasha Banks is going to be out for the month. But we can also have, Sasha Bayley on the main roster at a pay-per-view. That'd be another great show. A great showing for women's wrestling, as well as Sasha, Bayley, and Charlotte in a triple threat. That'd be great. As well as not counting out any of the other women's wrestlers on Raw. I think the women's division on Raw is looking pretty solid. Especially with the addition of Bayley. Like I said, excuse me, Bayley went up against Dana Brooke in her debut as Mick Foley announced her to Charlotte, and the Brooklyn crowd popped so well for her. I popped a little bit myself for her, but overall, Bayley, solid debut, pretty good debut, especially a great place to debut in Brooklyn, and I really liked it. And looking like Bayley's gonna have a solid rivalry with Charlotte. Hopefully, it's not too reminiscent of Sasha chasing the title. Because it's looking like it might be. But besides that, nothing else really happened on Raw. Trying to think if Heath Slater showed up. I don't think he did. Did he? I don't think he did. I don't think he showed up. We didn't have a single sign of Brock Lesnar the whole night. Nothing else really happened. I mean, there was a cool opening segment with a ton of people coming out. Everyone that was in those matches that I previously said to qualify for the Fatal 4-Way next week. All those guys came out, had their moment when Seth Rollins was, in there trying to claim the championship and stuff. All that went down and everything. That was the only other memorable segment from this week, and it wasn't really it was a filler Raw. That I'll give it that. It was a really filler show that could have been a little better than a filler. But overall, I'm gonna give Raw a 4 out of 10 this week. I mean, it really did feel filler. Nothing else really happened. Yeah, I mean, Big E came back in the ring. Woohoo. Nah, it was a mediocre return overall for Big E. But anyways, that's it for the Raw review. Let's go on to the SmackDown review. Going right into it, people. Reviewing all the shows this week. SmackDown Live review. Alright, so we open the show with the new straps being debuted, the tag titles and the women's title, like I talked about earlier on in the show. It was pretty solid. You had all the tag teams out there and all the women's division out there as well. And looking there, it looked people could look at it and see it's pretty thin. The talent they have for the tag tournaments that they announced, as well as the women's six-pack challenge. All of that. It did really look thin to me. Regardless, though, it was a pretty good debut for the belts. And Heath Slater ended up coming out, and it just proved why he's so over with the crowd, trying to get a contract and everything. And this was really a positive thing to happen to Heath Slater's career, to not be drafted, because he's super over with the crowd now. Anyways, during that debut segment, they announced that the tag teams will go through a tournament that would ultimately culminate at Backlash on September 11th. And I personally think, another thing, Heath Slater had to find a partner and end up going all the way and winning the tag championships for a contract in the WWE for SmackDown Live. I personally think he's gonna go a little far, maybe finals. That'd be something to see. Heath Slater go to the pay-per-view for SmackDown Live and have a potential spot of winning it, and then of course not winning it, and then maybe Shane and Daniel Bryan come out and gift him a contract like they were going to and stuff. That could happen. Slater could turn face. I can see a lot of potential things happening with Slater. Hopefully they don't mess it up. As I said, the women's six-pack challenge, I believe that includes Natalya, Naomi, Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and oh my god, I can't remember. Natalya, Naomi, Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, Alexa Bliss. Oh my god, I really can't remember this. Don't want to wake him up. How can I not remember this? I can't believe I can't remember this. Let me look at this. Oh, Carmella. That was the other. That was the other name I forgot. Okay. Well, yeah. So we got Carmella, Nikki Bella, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Natalya, and I don't know. The 6 women on SmackDown. There you go. The six-pack challenge is gonna happen at Backlash. I'm not sure how it's gonna go off, like how the women's division is gonna do or thrive for the next few weeks going into Backlash. I mean, Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch had a pretty okay matchup on the card with Naomi and Natalya on a commentary. I mean, it was okay at the most. But just overall, that whole thing might end up doing well. I don't know. I personally see the tag team tournament going way better in my opinion, though. And yeah, man, that was everything that happened on that side of things. The third thing I want to cover, the main event, the big thing that happened during the show that I loved was the big heat between Loudmouth AJ Styles and Crush Dolph Ziggler, because he just lost what potentially could be his last chance at the world title. And Styles getting in his face, I don't like losers, and they get into it in the backstage. Styles comes out to the ring. Ziggler comes out and attacks him again, and then Styles comes out and cuts a promo. Ziggler comes out and potentially like almost attacks him, and then Daniel Bryan comes out, stop! I'm not letting you ruin the show. This is not what's gonna happen. And then he announces the main event, which people don't really understand why Styles was basically handed the world title shot. I kind of do, because essentially he beat SmackDown Live's best superstar there, John Cena, clean in the middle of the ring, which Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose can do. And that basically proves Styles to be a superstar, a mega superstar. So he's going to Backlash for the world title either way. It's just in the main event, if Ziggler wins, he gets added to it in a triple threat. And the main event was great. It was a great main event for a pretty solid show, a pretty solid showing by SmackDown Live. And I absolutely love that main event. It was a great way to end the night. You know, AJ Styles ends up going over Dolph Ziggler with the Styles Clash, I believe. And you could easily see the eyes of AJ Styles looking into Dean Ambrose's eyes, and I could see a lot of things coming out of that, a lot of positive things coming out of that, and it was a pretty solid showing by SmackDown Live. Like I said, I'm gonna give SmackDown Live a 6.5 out of 10. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I liked it. Now we're moving on to the NXT review here for you guys. Man, as I said, this is a jam-packed video, man. Everything happening in the whole video. NXT, nothing really happened. This is going to be a pretty quick run. Nothing really happened. It was just a really filler episode for NXT. There's still 3 things I want to talk about with you guys real quick. Ty Dillinger, like, it really felt like him coming out in the Brooklyn crowd. They were in Brooklyn again, by the way. Him coming out to the Brooklyn crowd was amazing. He's so over with everyone. He was a heel, and then he got this whole 10 gimmick, and then he started doing it a lot, and now he's over with the crowd, just like Daniel Bryan, man. And I'm not saying he's Daniel Bryan style in the ring, but he's pretty damn good in the ring. He seems to be okay on the mic, and he has a great gimmick going for him. So if he's not called up by at least the Rumble, I'm gonna be pretty disappointed in the WWE. But man, Dillinger, I'm a huge fan of him. Huge fan of Dillinger so far. I just wanted to cover that a little bit. Moving on, lots of filler of revisiting to Brooklyn 2. Not a fan of that, man. Not a fan of that at all. You know, there have been pretty recent shows in NXT where it's been nothing but just one thing. In recent memory, it calls to my mind Balor and Nakamura on the show. In regards to that, that's legit one match on the card. You know, overall, makes a lot of sense for that to get the whole show, because Balor and Nakamura, they put on a clinic and they made a great match out of it. This was just revisiting and showing a lot of footage from Brooklyn 2. Like, if you don't want to watch all of that happen in the 2.5 hour show that Brooklyn 2 was, then just go watch NXT. Honestly, it literally shows everything that happened, the beginning, the entrances, the ending to every single matchup. And that one it was just weird to see, like, the entire middle of the show was just revisiting Brooklyn 2, and it was just very odd. It was like, I thought they could have come up with something better and utilize some of the talent that wasn't used for Brooklyn 2 to get some matches in Brooklyn again for a post-Brooklyn NXT. You know, it could have been a solid showing by NXT, but it really wasn't. And then the last thing I want to bring up, TM61 versus the Authors of Pain. This was a pretty good match. Pretty good tag team match, if I say so myself. TM61, I really do think taking the NXT titles away from whoever has it in a few months. I mean, I don't think they're NXT tag title worthy yet. The way I see the tag titles going, in a few months, Gargano and Ciampa are going to take it, and then TM61 is going to come in and take it, and then Gargano and Ciampa are going to break up. That whole deal is going to happen. Everything's going to go down well. TM61 has a little bit more brewing time in NXT. Authors of Pain have a pretty, in my opinion, a pretty long time of brewing time in NXT. I don't think they're going to be called up anytime soon. And neither of these teams are going to be called up anytime soon, but that's pretty good for NXT because they're pretty solid in the ring. I really liked the presence that TM61 had, and I'm pretty big fan of them now. I really like them. Authors of Pain, great Paul Ellering work. Just okay ring work. I mean, of course, they're big guys, so they can't really move that fast and all. So, just overall, it was a pretty solid match. But overall in NXT, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. I mean, it really could have been something more than it was, but it was just like Brooklyn 2 revisited. That was basically the episode. Ty Dillinger and Wesley Blake to open up the show was mediocre at best, but that was only because Dillinger was involved. Wesley Blake is just nothing at this point. Wesley Blake was Blake and Murphy now, and he's just nothing. But yeah, 5.5 out of 10 by NXT. Pretty disappointed about that. But now to close out the rest of the show, we're back on this overlay. This is the ending segment of the show. I'm going to basically go over my favorite and least favorite moments of the week, my takeaways from the storylines, as well as my predictions for next week. So let's get right into my favorite moment of the week. There's a lot. There's a lot to pick from, man. But I'm going to say my favorite moment of the week had to be the Revival versus Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Holy hell. I've already kissed this match's ass so much during this whole podcast. But man, was it a fantastic wrestling match. I loved it so much. And seriously, you're doing yourself a disservice by not watching this match. It's so damn good. So damn good. Go check it out as soon as you can. As for least favorite moment of the week, I'm gonna go ahead and say Balor relinquishing the title and being injured. Not so much that it was, bad, like poorly handled, but more of a crushing blow. A really crushing blow. I mean, so for the summer of 2016, there was it mainly made us forget about the whole injury stuff going on earlier on in the year, and late 2015, early 2016, all the injuries that occurred and happened. The rest of 2016, like the summer of 2016, like I said, didn't really have a bunch of injuries to talk about. But now Finn Balor was a crushing blow for an injury. And man, was that a huge loss to the Raw creative staff there, man. Such a crushing blow in Balor getting injured. That easily has to be my least favorite moment of the week. The takeaways from the storylines. Essentially, I already went over what I want to do for the NXT tag titles. But again, Austin Aries, Hideo Itami, make it happen. I see Nakamura and Joe 2 at the October takeover. Possibly a Rude Nakamura. And if not October, then definitely December. Rude's going for the NXT title. I see Cena not coming back. And this is just an overview for the whole WWE, of course. Just want to make that clear. I don't see Cena coming back for a little while. If he comes back next week, I wouldn't be surprised though. So I don't see him coming back at least until after Backlash. If Styles takes it from Ambrose, which I honestly don't know how the match is going to turn out. But if Styles ends up taking the title from Dean, which he probably will, then I do see Cena and Styles, and maybe it could be a multi-man matchup in October for that. I really don't know. That's really intriguing, seeing how that might go. But again, I don't see Cena coming back to SmackDown Live until at least after Backlash, because I don't see him having a match on the card. Orton and Lesnar, I think that's going to be it for them for right now. I don't see them, facing off in that type of matchup until, a long ways down the road, at the most. Rollins and Balor, man, of course Balor, whatever. I do see Rollins though going into the Universal title. I do see Rollins winning that matchup, and if Roman wins it, I will be severely disappointed. But I do see Rollins winning that match. He just seems like he's the guy to win it after putting on such a great matchup with Balor. Bayley and Charlotte, like I said, they're probably going to be the women's matchup for Raw on Clash of Champions on the 25th. The tag tournament, I personally see American Alpha taking it. You know, it's very basic. Like in the news of professional wrestling, you hear a bunch of news about American Alpha becoming the new tag champions for SmackDown, and I really do see that happening. And if not, then hell, give it to Heath and Rhino. Give it to Heath and Rhino, man. Let Heath have a contract. The women's six-pack challenge match, I personally think Nikki Bella is going to take it. If Nikki Bella doesn't take it, then I'm going to think Becky Lynch. Those are my two to win the match, though. Because Nikki Bella is looking pretty solid. But if she doesn't win it, then definitely Becky Lynch. Where do I see Ziggler for Backlash? I really don't know. And that's the sad thing. Because there was a bit on SmackDown with Randy and Bray doing a bit of a promo work there, so it's looking like Wyatt and Orton are going to have a matchup at Backlash. Ziggler lost, so he's not in the main event. So I don't really know. He might go for the IC title. I could see that happening again. Him having a pretty solid IC title run. Maybe unifying the IC and World title. That could be a cool thing to make him more important. NXT. Ty Dillinger definitely has to be on TV more often. Please put him on TV more often. I could definitely see him going somewhere with the NXT title. That could be something to see, man. That'd be great. And as as I said, NXT tag titles have already gone over that. And yeah, those are my whole, that's all of my takeaways for storylines. As for predictions for next week I see, as I said, Rollins taking the Universal title. I think it's going to be on the card, of course. Anything else from Raw? I mean, I think it's going to be pretty much the same show because I don't see much out of Raw so far. Could be better, could be worse. I mean, going into next week, there isn't really much to build up off of for Raw in general. I really don't know what they're going to do, man. I really don't know. Hopefully they surprise me. For SmackDown Live, however, I do see Styles and Dean having a good run against each other, as well as more of the tag team tournament and more heat towards the women's six-pack challenge, and hopefully a little bit of Ziggler, so we don't get too less of Ziggler, because Ziggler really could thrive from this draft, and hopefully he can become more of a superstar that he actually deserves to be, because he really deserves to be the superstar. And NXT, next week NXT has to be a better show than this week, because this week only showcased 2 matches and a bunch of filler content. And yeah, that's all my predictions for next week. Got this in at least under an hour. Damn, I thought I was gonna go over an hour. All right. Well, that is your jam-packed premiere episode for zooming through wrestling. Thank you guys. If you guys watched the whole show, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the entire show. Little bit of friendly plugs here. If you guys want to check him out, there's a good old pal of mine, Jake. Countdown Ended on Twitter. He'll be doing an Extra Life live stream, I believe today that you're seeing this. Go check it out. I might turn up around there. I might be in the stream a little bit if I can be. As well as check out my friend Joe Cronin on the Joe Cronin Show, as well as JD from New York, fellow podcasters on the YouTube wrestling community. Definitely go check them out. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, please like and share it. Comment down below. What was your favorite part of last week? And what do you guys think we're gonna happen next week? Subscribe for more great content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Do me a favor, have yourselves a damn good day, and peace.